My wife brought her new boyfriend to scatter my mother's ashes. You didn't deserve her anyway, he smirked. I just nodded. 3 months later, their house burned down. I was 800 miles away, with the only surviving copy of the will. She dropped the urn. Not by accident. Not even like some oops fumble. She tossed it, like a dog toy, right into the lake. And that wasn't even the part that broke me. It was the way her boyfriend, yes, boyfriend, while we were still legally married, smirked at me as the ashes hit the water and said, "You didn't deserve her anyway." My mother, the woman who raised me alone after my father vanished in a tragic accident. The woman who wore the same $18 sneakers for 6 years so I could have braces. The woman who once walked into my high school principal's office and screamed until they reversed a suspension I didn't deserve. Gone. Reduced to a puff of gray mist on lake water and the sound of her urn hitting a rock. I heard the crack. Even now it echoes in my jaw. But I didn't flinch. Didn't cry, didn't shout. I just nodded, because that was the moment I stopped being a person. I became something else entirely. We hadn't spoken for 2 months when she invited me to the ceremony. She used that word, ceremony, like it was a wedding, or a christening, like she was giving me a gift. The text came in at 2:13 a.m. One sentence. Scattering your mom's ashes at Shady Ridge Lake this Saturday at 11 a.m. You should be there. Your mom. Not mom. Not our mom, which she used to say before everything turned sour. Just, your. I stared at it for 5 minutes. Didn't respond. I should have known something was off when she asked if I could bring the urn. Said she lost track of it during the move. Translation. She packed it in a box, shoved it behind the yoga mat, and forgot. I brought it. Of course I did. Because I was still clinging to some pathetic, leftover version of the man she used to love. The one who fixed her radiator in the middle of a snowstorm. The one who handwrote her birthday cards because she said digital ones felt cold. She brought her new boyfriend, Jasper. That's his name. Of course it is. He looked like an indie pop singer and talked like a TED Talk on mushrooms. Wore a turtleneck and linen pants. To a lake. In November. She introduced him like this. This is Jasper. He's been helping me process. Then she added, with a smile so brittle I could have crushed it with one finger, emotionally and physically. I handed her the urn. She laughed. You still carry it around? That's so on brand. I didn't speak, just stared past her, at the dock where my mom used to take me fishing. They walked out together, arm in arm, whispering. I followed. She opened the urn, held it like it was a dirty sock. Then, she flung the contents out like she was tossing confetti. The wind caught it. Some of it blew back in her face. Jasper started laughing, and then he leaned close to me. Just close enough that I could smell his cologne. Sandalwood and smugness. You didn't deserve her anyway. I didn't react. Not externally. But in my head, something ancient and precise slid into place. Here's the part most people won't believe. I didn't yell. Didn't punch him. Didn't scream at her. I just turned around and walked back to my car. Drove home. Put the empty urn back on the shelf. Then I started making calls. Not to lawyers. Not to friends. To survivors. My uncle Dennis? Estranged from my mom for 15 years after a blowout over her wedding. Guess who she made executor of her will? Me. Not Dennis. Guess who didn't know she updated it a year before she died? Her. Because I didn't tell her. Because I wasn't sure she'd want to know what was in it. My mom left everything to me. The house. The antique store. The lake cabin she bought secretly in cash to avoid state vultures. All of it. Not because I was her favorite, but because she knew I'd protect it. She made me promise, 3 weeks before she died, that I'd never let outsiders touch the land. Keep it ours, she said. Keep it clean. So when Jasper and my wife moved into their little cookie-cutter townhouse, they didn't realize it sat on a lot my mom once quietly purchased. A lot with faulty gas lines and expired permits. A lot I now controlled. I didn't torch it. I'm not a lunatic. I did something worse. I waited. 3 months later, the fire started around 4:12 a.m. Faulty boiler. Old wiring. No smoke detectors on the second floor. I was in another state visiting a friend. My phone pinged with the news alert like it was a birthday reminder. House fire destroys local couple's home. No casualties. I called Dennis. Tell them about the will, I said. You sure? He asked. Let it breathe a little, I said. Then send it certified. I waited 2 more days. Then I sent them the copy of the will. Not the summary. The whole thing. Handwritten. Notarized. Witnessed. with the clause she added just for my wife. If my son is ever betrayed by the woman he marries, she forfeits all claims to any part of my estate. This includes but is not limited to financial assets, property, heirlooms, land, or likenesses. And then, because my mom had a streak of cruelty no one ever acknowledged, she wrote one more line. He deserves more than what I settled for. Make sure he knows that. The insurance company? They asked for property verification. Title info. Guess whose name was listed on the neighboring lot with the fire-prone wiring? Mine. Guess who had records proving he sent 3 warnings about unsafe conditions that were ignored? Also mine. Guess whose negligence legally insulated him from liability? Still mine. They can't touch me. Not legally. Not emotionally. Not even in dreams. They're living in a motel now. She tried texting me last week. Can we talk? Please. I miss you. I didn't answer. Instead, I mailed her the urn. Empty. But taped to the inside? A flash drive. With 73 voicemails. All from my mom. Every birthday. Every holiday. Every time I forgot to call and she left a message saying, just checking in, love you more than life. The last message? Right before she went into the hospital. If she ever hurts you, baby, don't let it end there. Make it mean something. Make it burn. I think I finally understood what she meant. Update 1. 3 nights ago, I drove out to what used to be their lot. Didn't park close. Just enough to see the outline. The char marks. The yellow tape still flapping weakly in the wind like some kind of apology that came too late. There's nothing left. You wouldn't even know it was a house unless you knew where to look. Funny thing about fire, it doesn't discriminate. But memory? Memory targets. It lingers. Haunts. I sat in my truck with the engine off and watched a raccoon dig through the ash pile where their bedroom used to be. That's when I realized what I'd actually done. I hadn't just taken her comfort. I'd made her small. She tried calling me again yesterday. Different number. Burner, probably. Left a voicemail this time. Breathless. Croaky. I know it was you. She didn't say it like an accusation. More like a prayer. Like she was hoping I'd confirm it. Because then at least the chaos had an author. Someone she could hate instead of sitting in the rot and realizing it birthed itself. I didn't call back. I waited until tonight. Then I sent her one more thing. A scanned copy of the second will. Not my mom's. My own. It's dated 2 weeks before the fire. Filed. Legal. Witnessed. And it names a different heir to everything I own. Jasper. That's right. I made him my beneficiary. Life insurance. My car. My half of the business. Even the stupid vinyl collection he once mocked for being boomercore. But the clause? That's where the real sting comes in. In the event Jasper W. Marshall is convicted of arson, fraud, abuse, or any violent crime toward a current or former spouse, this will is null. And everything transfers everything to the Marigold Recovery Home for Victims of Emotional Neglect. She's going to read that clause. And it's going to unravel her. Because she knows what he's done. But she's never been able to say it. The bruises she blamed on door handles. The panic attacks she said were just dehydration. The way she flinched when he raised his hand to high-five a friend too fast. Yeah. I knew. I knew from the beginning. He broke her down because she needed to be broken to believe she could throw ashes at a lake and still be worthy of forgiveness. She chose him over my mother's memory. But now? Now he has everything if he behaves. And she knows he won't. Today, I visited Marigold. It's this crumbling Victorian on a dead-end street with peeling paint and a porch swing that always creaks, even without wind. My mom used to volunteer there. Said the silence in that house was heavy with stories that never got their ending. The director remembered her. Told me they still have her photo on the volunteer wall. I told her about the clause. She smiled. Said nothing. Just nodded like she understood something sacred had been passed to her. Jasper hasn't called. But someone's been parked outside my apartment building. Same black sedan. Same dented door panel. No plates. I watch them from the window sometimes. They don't move. Just sit there, engine idling. It's not fear I feel. It's anticipation. Because there's one more thing they don't know. The ashes they scattered? Not my mom. Not even close. I switched the urn. Weeks before. My mother's real ashes are still here. In the cedar box she chose herself. In the closet, top shelf, wrapped in the blue scarf she wore every Christmas. What they threw into that lake was drywall dust and burnt sage. I wanted them to think they'd desecrated something sacred. Because guilt corrodes faster than fire. And regret? Regret rewires your brain until all you see is what you can't undo. More soon. There's a letter in Jasper's handwriting floating around. Found it tucked into the crawl space of a cabin 2 counties over. The contents? Let's just say they change everything. And nobody's walking away clean. Not even me. Update 2. So, about that letter. It's postmarked 3 months before the fire. No return address. Just a single sheet of notebook paper, creased 6 times like someone folded and unfolded it while sweating through a panic attack. I didn't find it. The sheriff did. They'd gone out to my mom's lake cabin after a squatter tip. Teenagers, probably. Said they saw flickering lights and someone pacing the porch. When the deputy cleared the place, he found the crawl space door half open, like someone had been trying to hide something or dig. That's where the letter was, taped inside a Ziploc bag, labeled in shaky handwriting. If I go missing, start here. It was Jasper's handwriting. No question. I compared it to a birthday card he left on my kitchen counter once, back when we were still pretending we'd all be adults about the divorce. Same loops. Same weird lowercase g's that look like musical notes. The letter? Unhinged. It starts like this. I didn't want it to end like this. But she wouldn't stop. She kept bringing up the ashes, asking why they didn't look like human remains, saying she saw bits of paper. She thinks I killed her mother, that I made her do it. Let that sink in. He thought those ashes, those staged, swapped-out remains were her mom's. Which means she lied. She told him they weren't mine. She told him he desecrated her family. And he believed it. The letter spirals from there. Mentions how he cleaned up everything, that he took care of the neighbors and neutralized the cameras. Then it gets darker. More erratic. She keeps waking up at night. Says she hears coughing. In the vents. Keeps whispering, what if it was real? I told her it was smoke damage. She cried for 2 hours. Then tried to cut her hair in the sink. Said she wanted to feel lighter. She won't eat unless I cook. She says my hands make her feel safe. I told her that's because they're the only hands left. I read that last line 5 times. Only hands left. They weren't living together by the end. I found it out after driving down to the motel they'd been crashing at. He was gone. Left 3 weeks earlier. She stayed. Alone. When I asked the desk clerk what room she was in, he didn't even blink. Said 201. The sad one. I knocked. She didn't answer. I waited 5 minutes, then left an envelope under her door. Inside? A Polaroid. Of the urn. The real one. Unopened. Untouched. On the mantle of the cabin she never asked about. Wrote 3 words on the back. You never looked. That night she called me. Voicemail again. Her voice was slurred. Not drunk. Something worse. Like her brain was unraveling syllable by syllable. I lied. I told him it was my mom. I didn't want to believe I'd done that to yours. But now I don't know what's worse. Believing I threw away a stranger or knowing you let me. Then silence. Then. He said the fire would set us free. I thought that meant starting over. But I keep dreaming in heat. And I wake up tasting smoke. I'm not proud of what I did next. I went to Jasper's father. Did some digging. Found out he runs a private security firm downstate. One of those ex-military we vet our own types. Keeps a tight circle. Probably doesn't ask many questions. I emailed him from a burner. Subject line, your son is going to bury you next. Attached? Photos. Of the letter. Of the motel room. Of a page from my mom's will highlighting the forfeiture clause. No message. Just the evidence. 36 hours later I got a reply. We'll handle this. That's all it said. And now? No one's heard from Jasper since. She reported it 2 nights ago. Cops didn't take it seriously. Said it was probably a domestic spat. That men like him always surface. But I know better. He's not coming back. Because there's a second copy of the letter. Still sealed. Still in evidence. And I made sure the sheriff knows exactly who to call if it disappears. Last thing. I visited the lake. Not for closure. I don't believe in that anymore. I went there to scatter the real ashes. Did it alone? No ceremony. No flowers. Just wind. And silence. Before I left, I tossed something into the water. A second urn. Not real. Just a replica. Inside? A bag of ashes I made from burning every picture I had of her. Every card. Every letter she wrote. Even our wedding photo torn in half down the middle. I sealed it. Taped a note to the inside. You were never the story. Just a footnote. The ending already happened. Then I walked away. Didn't look back. Update 3. I played the voicemail. Last night. At 3:12 a.m. I'd been staring at the ceiling for hours. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't even blink without hearing the hiss of flames or the soft crunch of bone dust being scattered like trash. So I got up. Dug the old burner phone out of the lockbox. Charged it. Punched in the code, my childhood address reversed. The way she always said to make things harder for the wrong people. One voicemail. Dated 11:38 p.m. the night before she died. I sat in the kitchen, cold linoleum on bare feet, and hit play. It started like her usual ones. Hey baby. Sorry I missed your call. I was just walking. Her voice was hoarse. Soft. But calm. Scary calm. I had that dream again. The one with the hallway and the red door. The one where I knock but no one answers. Remember that? You used to say it was just a sign I needed closure. But I think it means something else now. Pause. Breathing. A slight click, probably her turning onto the porch where the floorboards creaked like old bones. You've always been better than me at hiding pain. I used to think that was strength. Now I'm not sure. There's something I need you to do. And I need you to promise me you won't hesitate. Silence. Then. She's going to fail you. The kitchen light flickered. I don't know if it was real or just timing. Not because she hates you, but because some people only know how to survive by setting fires and running toward the smoke. And you? You're built to rebuild. That's dangerous, baby. That makes you a lighthouse. And people like her? They don't want to be saved. They just want something bright to crash into. So when she does it, when she burns it all down, I need you to burn something too. Not her. Not yourself. I need you to burn the idea of her. Burn it so thoroughly there's nothing left for her to haunt. Long breath. Then a cough. Short. Wet. Final. I'm tired. And I think the door's open now. I love you. And I trust you to make it mean something. Click. I sat there for a long time. Didn't cry. Didn't move. Just sat. Because I realized something. She didn't record that message because she believed in me. She recorded it because she knew. She knew what I'd become when pushed far enough. And she gave it a name, making it mean something. What a tidy little euphemism for what I did. The manipulations. The letter. The fire I didn't light but invited. The ashes in the lake that weren't hers but were still used like a weapon. She didn't ask me to seek justice. She asked me to erase. And I did. Jasper's still missing. But someone mailed me his watch. No note. No return address. Just the watch. Cracked face. Band soaked in something dark and unidentifiable. It came in a small box. Wrapped in newspaper clippings. Articles about a house fire. Their house fire. One of them had a margin note scribbled in blue ink. You only lit the match. The wind chose the direction. Zoe thinks it's a threat. I think it's a eulogy. She, the wife, she left town. Motel clerk said she packed up and left without paying her last week. Word is she hitched a ride with a trucker heading south. Someone posted on Reddit about a haunted-looking woman sobbing in a rest stop bathroom in Arizona, mumbling about ashes and a man who switched them out to punish her. Could have been anyone. But I know it was her. She'll spend the rest of her life wondering what was real. And that's the part no fire can cleanse. I sold the cabin last week. Not for the money. I just didn't want to look at that crawl space again. Didn't want to wonder how many more letters were waiting under floorboards? Or how many people built their truths on someone else's lies. I left the urn behind. Real ashes. Wrapped in that scarf. Tucked in the back of the closet behind the old tackle box and photo albums. I didn't tell the buyers. Let them find it. Let them ask questions they'll never get answers to. Let the ghost stay where it wants. Sometimes I think I hear her. My mom. Not words. Just the tone. That tired exhale she made when she was too proud to cry. Sometimes it echoes from the sink faucet. Sometimes in the heater's hum. Other nights? I dream of a hallway. And a red door. But now when I knock, it opens. And standing there? Is her. Not smiling. Not angry. Just holding out her hand. And behind her? A room filled with smoke. And one single, flickering match. Final note. Don't ask me if I regret it. Regret is for people who want to go back. I don't. I let go of them all. Even the versions of myself that loved too loudly and begged for mercy when he should have built a fire break. The only thing I miss? The illusion. The part of me that thought love could outlast cruelty. But now I know better. Love doesn't survive destruction. It sometimes becomes its spark. It fuels it. And once you've watched something sacred burn, you either walk away from the smoke, or you learn to breathe it in.